Great panel discussion here. Not only serving on Energy and Commerce, but also co-chaired the House Energy Action Team. And I think Republicans have done a great job over the last 4 years or more messaging on all the ways the Biden administration has gotten energy wrong in this country and all of the issues. Inflation, Ms. Jackson, inflation and rising energy costs, we've said over and over, hurt the lower income people disproportionately harder than anyone else. And I'm glad you made that point. I see a future hearing where you will be invited back, I hope, to allow the other side of the aisle to actually hear your comments about the impact of energy cost on the African-American community and impoverished communities, even across all demographics. And I think the United States abundance of natural gas has helped do more, as we've heard, to lower our carbon emissions than anything else. I think an effort to bring more nuclear power online and utilize more natural gas in this country are important steps in both lowering energy costs but also lowering our carbon emissions. The Biden administration wants to keep cutting production in this country, but I'll tell you who's not cutting production unless it benefits them, and that's the OPEC cartel. The only time they cut production is to drive prices up because they want to raise more money. And Mr. Hickman mentioned we're dependent on foreign sources of energy. We don't want to be dependent on foreign sources of produce or protein. And so we've got upstream producers. We've got downstream wholesale and retail sales. We've got the end users, the farming and the communities. But one of the biggest problems we have in this country is midstream, and that's pipelines to get the product produced wherever, whether it's natural gas or oil, to the downstream wholesalers and ultimately to the consumers. So we as a committee have got to focus on how we can get pipelines built in this country, because we hear from the producers in Marcellus that they've got an abundance of natural gas. They just can't get that product. There's not enough pipeline capacity to get that product to my Commission of Public Works in Lawrence County, South Carolina. We've got capacity issues where the pipelines bringing both from Lake Charles in Texas, Louisiana and Texas, or Marcellus, north and south into the Carolinas, but they're at capacity. So as we see growth, as we see both manufacturing growth and residential growth across the country, the need for natural gas distribution is so important. And that's one of the caveats that we have got to address, is how we get that. Because that same natural gas used to produce fertilizer, same natural gas is taken to the homes in your communities. And I promise you that natural gas is cheaper than electricity. Whether it's running your dryer or hot water heater, and now we see this morning, as many have mentioned, the Biden administration talk about prohibiting natural gas stoves in our homes. I see this as just a precursor. This is the beginning of an attack on natural gas, because they understand natural gas is abundant in America, and it is I won't say transition, I think it's the energy of the future for powering gas-fired power plants, provide electricity, providing natural gas for vehicles, natural gas for homes. And so I want to just end with this. I don't have any questions because they've all been asked really that I had, is just to thank this panel for coming and educating members of Congress and encourage the Energy and Commerce Committee to take the next step, to take your comments and your suggestions and your ideas and the problems that you're facing and come up with solutions to pipelines, to stopping the Biden administration, to lowering cost. And because the Biden administration and Democrats, their answer to the problems that people of color are facing and other communities are facing is to give incentives, to subsidize, to use tax dollars taken from Americans to help those people pay for those high energy costs. They're not doing anything to drop the energy cost. They're just giving money to help pay for it, and that's the wrong solution, especially in a country like America that has an abundant natural resource base. I can't believe that that any country would start limiting the production of something they have an abundance of that actually make lives better across their nation and help their populace and constituents to their detriment. That's what we're seeing. And we've got to figure out how to restart not just American energy independence, but American energy dominance, because at the end of the day, a prosperous nation can be benevolent. Be benevolent with our dollars, be benevolent with our technology, but also be benevolent with our resources, because when you have an abundance of it and you're not utilizing all that you're producing, you can export that. Wind and solar cannot be exported. I guess I could export electricity to Canada or Mexico, but you can't send it to Europe. You can't send electricity to Africa, but you can send cleaner burning natural gas to benefit and improve the lives of so many people across the globe. And I think that's what a benevolent nation would do. And now I yield back.